Hello, everybody. I'm so excited today to talk to Mrs. Lucian's programming club at DeWitt Herbison Woods. And so, without any further ado, because I really want the kids to show off today, I'm going to go ahead to Sherry McVeigh, who is my partner in crime, and she's going to introduce you to Mrs. Lucian and this awesome club of kids.
Okay, so a little bit of how this whole thing got started is that back in December, I think it was,
Yes.
we actually did a really cool event called the Hour of Code, and it was something that we were trying to get people super excited about programming and knowledgeable about the fact that it isn't really something we focus enough on, and there are so many jobs out there that our kids are going to be going out into a world where they really need to do this kind of stuff. And so every student at Herbison Woods participated in an hour of learning how to do programming. And it's really cool because it's programming at kid level. They have actual online tutorials that you can do this with. One of the teachers that did this, as well as the person who kind of spearheaded it in her building, is Mrs. Sue Lucian. And she took that idea and ran with it and ended up doing a coding club. So she's going to tell you more about that herself. So here she is, Mrs. Lucian.
Thank you very much.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, the coding club is made up of 5th and 6th graders, some with some coding experience, some with no coding experience, except for our hour of code. And we have, over the last 9 weeks, made a variety of projects varying in difficulty based on kids' desire to create and be artistic and mathematically producing their code. And we found lots of tie-ins with what we are doing in other curricular areas. And so it's been very fun to watch these kids create more difficult code each week and wanting to alter what they had originally made to see if they could change it and have it do something differently.
Wow. Now, how did you get started? Do you have coding experience?
Sorry to say I do not have coding experience. My coding
Don't be sorry, because that's actually really encouraging to the rest of us.
Well, I'm embarrassed to say that actually when I was in college, I didn't even have a computer. That was back in the typewriter days. And so my coding experience came through finding out more information for Hour of Code. Mrs. McVeigh had mentioned about the Hour of Code during a technology meeting. And so I'm always looking to learn something new, but I didn't realize it would evolve into something like this, which has turned out to be very exciting.
No, but how was it for you going in with no experience?
Oh, well, given no experience, it became very easy to handle, I want to say, because between the built-in tutorials and the ease of actually using this particular Tinker programming, it was quite easy.
Oh, that's fantastic. So now, how did you, so you're using tinker.com?
Yes, and Tinker was one of the groups that supported the Hour of Code, so they had some things built into that for that week that we had Hour of Code. So that kind of was where I first linked on to Tinker,
Right.
and then when I saw what it looked like for kids, I thought it was going to be something that they would be able to handle and enjoy.
Oh, wow. Now, how did you decide, besides the fact that it was tied into the Tinker, I mean the Hour of Code, now, did you look at other programs, like Khan Academy's got like a coding program, and there's like several out there. How did you decide on this one?
Well, one, it was free. We could easily sign up a school group, and it was free to use. They had the built-in tutorials and a little widget that's right there that you can go to automatically. So if you're creating code and you all of a sudden can't get your code to do something that you want it to do, you can click on the widget, and the widget helps you and leads you through that particular aspect. Also, this is very self-paced, so kids can create as much as they want to, or they can really work on a project indefinitely.
Yeah. That was one of my questions because when I visited your classroom, the kids were very self-directed. So there was, you weren't teaching the class by, you weren't giving them general instructions. Every kid was kind of working on their own thing, and they were working in groups. Some of them were collaborating in the corner, some of them were celebrating in the other corner. So it was very self-paced, and I was really impressed by that. So is that part of the classroom culture, or is that something that the software encourages?
Both, actually. I think for the first couple of weeks, kids were learning the program and were kind of focused on their own business at that particular time. We're here an hour after school. And as the weeks have gone on and kids have seen other kids' projects, they have been asking each other to help, like, how did you get that to do that? And what did you have to build to get your characters to do that kind of motion? So it has, again, evolved over time, and I think that they have been able to share their expertise and really do some really cool things with it.
With each other. That's fantastic. So I want to go ahead and get and see some of the stuff that the kids are doing. So with us today, we've got Zach E., we've got Zach Y., and we've got Nicholas. We're going to kind of showcase what they're doing. We also have Brian Bryers, who is a parent, and so he hopefully can give us a couple of short answers about the coding class from a parent perspective. Okay, so let's start out with this screen. Let's see, I see like a little dinosaur, I think, going across this, who's that screen?
We actually have somebody that is being picked up on the regular mic, so he's just working with his own computer over here offside. Okay. So, the kids are actually having their club right now, so it's happening all around us right now.
So whose screen is this one?
Whose screen is that? It looks like Nick.
That's fine.
Nick. So hey, Nick, how are you doing?
Good.
Good. Can you tell us a little bit about your screen? Like, what are we looking at?
I'm going into some of my projects. And it's loading.
Oh, I think.
He's got a little bit of feedback. So maybe you can tell me a little bit about Mrs. Lucia. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about their dashboard.
Well, the dashboard is broken into categories, and each of those categories allow for different coding to go on. So one is for settings. Kids can either pick from settings that Tinker has built in there, or they can bring in alternate settings on their own. One has the characters. One has the way that you want your characters to move within the setting. So there are lots of different things that you can literally do with your characters as opposed to just simple motion back and forth. You can actually build depth within your code so that you are able to see layers on top of layers.
So is this like a gradual, how complicated can this get? Like you said that they start in a really easy basic mode. How complicated can that get?
Actually, they can have up to, I believe it's 12 separate codes within their one project, and depending upon what their goal is for that particular project, depends on how complicated it is. There are lessons that go with each one so that if there's something, a lesson plan can be put in place. So if we wanted to focus on just the motion, that's what we could focus on for that particular week.
Oh, I see. So let me try to see if we can get another screen. I think Zach Y. I think this is Zach Y's computer. Let me just double check. Okay, so Zach Y, we have like a little, I think, right? You have a tree and a little person, a stick person. Is that you?
That's me.
That's Nick.
Nick.
Oh, that's Nicholas? Oh, okay. So Nicholas, I can hear you perfectly now. Can you explain to us what you're doing?
Right now I'm trying to add some stuff to my program.
Okay, and what is your program supposed to do? Like, what are you trying to get it to do?
I've been working on it for a while, but what it does is it randomly generates a new like terrain each time.
Oh, I see. So you just kind of the character. I see that the character is now running across the forest.
Yep.
So now, how long have you been working on this piece?
A week.
A week. Wow, that's pretty good. So now, how did you get into coding, and why you're interested in it?
Well, first of all, my brother, he's been doing it for quite a while, and I started when I was like 5.
Oh, wow. So you enjoyed the club?
Ye most of the year.
Most of the year. That's fantastic. All right, now, Nicholas, one more question. There is this screen, and I'm just going to ask you a short question because your audio is not very good. But to the left of your screen, we see all these red uh, bars, like horizontal bars. Can you tell me a little bit about what those are?
Oh, these?
Yeah.
They are like stuff you can add to the program to make it move. Like if I go to the motion, it shows like move 5 steps or 10.
Oh, I see. So you can add oh, sure. Look at that. Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. All right. Thank you very much, Nicholas. So feel free to, speak in if you have some comments or questions, okay?
Okay.
All right, so now let's go to the next computer. I think this one is with the one with the pencil. Is that you, Zach E?
Zach Y.
That's Zach Y. I'm sorry. So Zach, how did you get into, I think somebody needs to turn off the audio because that's what's like the audio in one of the computers. So Zach Y, how did you get into coding?
Well, I liked it after the hour of code, which got me into it.
Oh, so you never coded before the hour of code?
Yeah,
Wow. So do you think that you would ever want to do a job or maybe a class on programming after you've done with this club?
maybe.
It's very interesting. Now, what are you trying to code here? What is this pencil about?
Well, I'm trying to make like you can draw your own thing. Like you move the pencil around and it draws a picture.
Ah, cool. So now this is when you hit play, that's what the pencil will do, or the whole idea is when someone clicks on the pencil, they can draw something.
Well, you like move your mouse.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. Very cool. Very, very cool. What is your favorite part about the coding club?
Uh, just having fun and doing stuff.
That's awesome. All right, thank you very much, Zach. Okay, now we're gonna see Zach Y's, oh no, sorry, Zach E's screen, and he's got Zodiac. So, let's see, Zach E. Um, what are you working on?
I don't think that's okay.
Audio is not working. I think there's too many mics on.
No, I think the kids are not, the correct one is not talking.
Oh, okay.
This is Zach E, and he has on his screen a little guy with a tree in the right corner.
No. Nope. This one, I think, right? Yeah, he's the one that has the media library open right now.
No, he doesn't have the media library. It says the little guy with a tree in the right-hand corner of the screen. There, it's showing for us.
Okay, this one. Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
There you go. Okay.
Okay.
Tell them what you're putting together, please.
Hi, Zach.
Hey,
Tell us what you're doing.
um, well, I'm trying to make like a little game where the stick figure jumps through these little hoops, and every time he gets into one, you get a little point on the second, um score block here,
Yeah.
and every time you miss one, you start again and lose one.
Oh. So what happens when you play? When you play it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to make it work.
Oh, so you're still working that out.
Yeah, I'm still working that
That
out.
is awesome. Now, how long have you been working on this particular project?
I just started it actually.
Oh, you just today?
Yeah, just
Oh, wow. So you're really pretty far. Now, what is your favorite thing about Programming Club?
um, I don't know. It's like making stuff and you know.
That's cool. That's really, really cool. Well, let me talk to Mrs. Lucian one more time. So you guys keep working. All right, so I have a couple questions about from a teacher's point of view.
Okay.
Now, do you prep lessons every time you go to programming club, or do the students just pick up where they left off the day before, the week
They
before?
they pick up where they left off. Some kids are using it at home or during actually their technology class with their homerooms.
Yeah.
Some kids have finished a project and then they've gone back and wanted to alter it. So it might be something that at one point they thought was done and then they changed their mind. So it is a work in progress. The only preparation I have done for 10 weeks is literally to look at the work before we started
Right.
and to try to build a code myself so that at least I knew what it was
Something.
that we were trying to, what our objective was. And because this is a drag and drop type programming,
Yeah.
it's like putting a puzzle together. So the kids are very, very good at it, much better than I.
Now, I noticed, one thing I noticed that there are a lot of girls. Now, I know like traditionally, fifth, sixth grade, here's the dividing age where girls start falling out of the STEM subjects or career paths.
Yes.
But I noticed that there are many girls in your programming class. Now, how is that happening?
Well, I think the programming really allows for the left and right brain to kind of come together and allows for some artistic qualities here, but also then has some mathematical components obviously to it as well, and has really created a situation for them where they have had to analyze and have
Right.
to kind of rebuild, and then they can put music into it as well. And
Right,
so
right.
some of them actually have drawn the work that goes into their program, so it's not all just about choice and picking from the library.
Oh, wow.
They can actually draw parts of it as well.
I'll contribute to that. That's amazing. So, what are your next steps? So this is year one. Oh, Sharon, do you have something?
Oh, all I was going to say is that the students that are actually on the computers seem so focused, on the computers that we're connected in right here. They are so focused on doing their programming. I'm thinking that when you were talking with them, they were kind of like, wow, I'm in my club. I'm doing my club stuff.
I know, right? Because
that's
like
really good. That's really
I know,
good.
it's really interesting because when I was standing right next to them, the conversation was completely different. But now you can tell that they're just clicking away and doing their things. And they're
So what I
100%
wondered
engaged.
is maybe if Mrs. Lucian would pick another child to maybe come here and sit in this seat, and maybe when they're not so focused on working on the code, maybe they would have a little bit more, a better chance to dialogue with you. So I'm going to ask her.
That's a good idea.
While you do that, I have some questions for Brian, who is a parent who has a student in this club. So Brian is not able to speak with us, but he can type through the chat. So I'm just going to read his answers. So the question for you is, why did you think your child needed to be in this programming club? Because your daughter, actually. And we'll wait till he. Oh, here it is. So again, it had to do with the. Oh, there he is. I can see him. So it had to do with the hour of code, and she got interested. Oh, there she is. Awesome. So what is your name?
Brenna Byers.
Brian Byers. So great. I'm talking to your dad on the other side. I don't know if you can see him. So there's your dad right here. Hello. And so now I was asking him, why he thought it was important for you to be part of the club. And so in his answer, he's saying that you got really interested during the hour of code. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Okay. Mm-hmm. Wait, what was I supposed to talk
The question. Oh, let me repeat the question.
about?
so, so how did you get interested in coding?
Oh, well, the hour of code, it was really fun for me, and I just got like, I was just like, I want to see if I can do something with this, and not just like keep doing the directions. So I decided to try it and
So
see.
what are you working on right now?
Well, I think I just finished one, but I'm gonna try and make another scene because I've never made two scenes. So I was gonna try and make another scene.
Now, just before you came on, we were talking about, girls in like, maybe in the sciences and in computers, including, of course, robotics. Do you see yourself maybe doing something like this for maybe taking more classes or maybe doing this in the future, coding?
I guess I could,
Yeah.
but I'm kind of wanting to be like a college professor or something.
A college professor, so maybe this is what you would be teaching. What do you know? Right? What is your favorite part about coding?
Well, trying new things and just like creating something that's yours that other people can enjoy and stuff.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting is that you kind of looking at computing from under the hood rather than just the screen. You're actually creating so much deeper. Really interesting. Sherry, do you have any questions for her?
Yeah, I wondered if Brenna would describe what her project that she just did that she finished. If
Oh,
you
yeah.
could kind of tell us about it a little bit.
Well, I had like a penguin with a guitar, and then it would say, "We will rock." I mean, "Let's rock," and then it would play the song "We Will Rock You" without the words and stuff. And then like an Egyptian lady comes out and starts and says, "Let's disco," and I put on some like disco music.
There is a, on the link to the invite or to the event, I put a link to you guys' showcase, and so listeners will be able to go to your showcase and find your video. So if I can find it before the session's over, maybe I'll play it. All right, so Dad, do you have any questions? Is there anything that we want us to ask her right here with everybody listening? He's typing. It says, I really liked that it gives her an opportunity to make mistakes and then correct them using logic. Is that true?
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out how to do something because at first I had like a snowman just like at the end to do something else, but I couldn't figure out how to like move him. And I remember learning about it in the lessons, but I couldn't figure it out. Then I just was like, maybe I'll like wait and ask like my dad or something.
So now does he send you back and say, no, you figure out yourself, or does he give you the answer?
Did you figure it out yourself?
No, I didn't figure it out yet.
Oh, wow, so you're still working on it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, Brian, from a parent's point of view, what would you say to other parents who want to try something like this, rather, or in competition with the sports, because DeWitt is a pretty big sports school? Do it, he says. All right, excellent. Thank you very much. We could go back and do your club so that it's to your programming, so that I don't take away your time.
Bye, Dad.
Bye.
So I want to talk about next steps. Sherry, we've been talking a little bit about maybe what's happening in the middle school next year, some of the ideas for the middle school. What is, for example, for next year, how are you going to evolve this club?
Well, this is really preliminary because we don't really have a plan in place or anything like that. What I've done is I pulled together a couple of parents. There's some community members and parents that are members of the coding community, I guess if you could call it that, where they do coding for their real jobs.
Yeah.
And so they have expressed, as part of the Hour Code, they have expressed an interest in helping us develop programs for students. And right now, that means after-school programs. And so We don't currently have anything at our junior high, but we do have this program here at Herbison Woods that's just started this year. And then Mr. Byers, who you've been interviewing, has programming involved with the class that he works with at the high school. And there's also a robotics club and a robotics class, I believe, at the high school. So there's something kind of on both ends of those spectrums, but we felt like there was kind of a gap between. And what we're doing is we're meeting with this parent group to try to develop some opportunities, probably an after-school opportunity for students at the junior high level. What that's actually going to look like, we're still, talking about it.
So now it's like a feeder program, and so these kids are going to come into their junior high and high school classes with a lot more coding than even the kids who are doing those classes today, right?
That's kind of our hope, and at some point we'd like to move even down further into the lower levels, because those kids have the greatest opportunity to kind of start off, to get opened up to it.
And they're risk takers at that point, so they're willing to create and not really worry about making a mistake or anything like that.
Right. Now, are these kids handpicked for, academically, or are they just anybody can come in, doesn't matter how they're doing academically?
When we started out, we had 28 computers, and over the course of 10 weeks, I would say the majority of the kids are the same kids each week, but depending upon just other things that are in their life, they may not come one week or something like that. But that's the nice thing about this, is that it doesn't matter. They can pick up 2 weeks from right now where they left off, whatever needs to be. And no, they were not handpicked. It was whoever is interested and would like to try something new, this is what we're going to try.
Oh, wow. So here's what I'd like to know. Are the students aware of the career possibilities because they know how to code? Are they making connections?
I think after the hour of code, one of the things that we were able to watch was a video that was put together that interviewed people like Bill Gates, and a couple of professional basketball players were part of that, and talked about how they were really interested in going into computer coding originally, or programming, but because of their other opportunities that came along, they decided to go into a professional sports arena. Right. However, I think it all of a sudden it opened up a lot of kids' eyes to the fact that coding really involves everybody, and how much of what they do in other ways really looks the same on this computer screen.
Right, because one of the things that we're being trained as educators today is to think about this idea that the careers that these kids are training for do not exist yet. Some of them do not exist. And so some of the traditional careers that we have built school for do not address some of careers like in programming, etc. And these days, pretty much everything has some kind of device, like digital component to it, and somebody's got to program that. And so for me to see all these kids just kind of, taking the baby steps in programming is very exciting. So do they get a chance to speak to maybe professionals in the field and ask them questions or anything like that?
Well, I think, even being able to see I think they have like this vague idea of what those computer jobs look like, but the connection still isn't real strong about just how many things rely on code. And so I think that it's definitely something that is enlightening for them, and to be able to really get a grasp on that, because even for myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize. I wasn't thinking in those terms. My vision was much more the computer, not everything else that's around us.
Like under the hood, right.
Absolutely.
Another thing I don't think that we really anticipated was how much of the stuff that we're supposed to be learning, this Common Core stuff, is being taught through this method too. Can you read? Can you write? Can you do math? All of that is happening in this room after school. It's just the kids are doing it for fun, which is, it's something that I think is very important to point out when it starts talking back to the types of things that we do in our regular classroom day.
Right, exactly. I mean, like we always worry about the objectives and what are, you know, what is the objective, what is the objective, but, you know, it's almost like they're learning to walk. And it's not like you're saying, okay, you're learning to walk so you can get from point A to point B. You just learn to walk, and suddenly that opens up all these other places that you can go.
I think that's very true, and as a classroom teacher, I know that one of the things we've been struggling with is trying to get kids to think analytically, to have them be problem solvers, and this is all about that. They have to be able, I think Brenna said too, she's still trying to solve a problem because she knows what she wants her program to do. She just isn't quite sure on how to get it there yet, but it's that trial and error, and sometimes kids aren't willing to do that within the academic world.
Right.
But here, giving them a chance to analytically try to solve a problem.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, we've been talking for almost 40 minutes, and not one student has come out and asked you a question.
No, and they help each other. They really, it's really good because what one person will see, it's like looking at something for a long time, and then, oh, it's right there in front of you, but you just need some more eyes to come in there. They have really exceeded my expectations.
Fantastic.
And I know, like today, I mentioned that this was the last day, and they're like, well, so you mean we're not going to do any more this year? And I'm, well, no. And then, well, what about next year? And I said, we will definitely look at the opportunities for next year. And I know, and then I had a couple of sixth graders say, but I won't be here. And I'm like, but we're going to look at opportunities in the junior high.
Continue. Now, would this be a class for credit rather than the typical computer class that offers like a Microsoft Office type thing?
You know, I don't really know with that. I think I heard Mrs. McVeigh still say that at the junior high it most likely would be an after-school type of club. But I will say that this is one of the few times, even in the classroom, you know, where people are more interested in like what time it is. Here they're, oh, we have to finish up now.
Oh, it's time to go. Yeah.
They like to stay a little longer because they're into what they're doing, and they don't want to have to end it right at that point.
Well, I mean, I'm not a math teacher, but I read and I see a lot of information about programming, coordinating with math and math skills. And do you see this as a possible, not replacement, but as a possible support for a mathematics class?
I absolutely do. I mean, we're not working with the algorithms right now.
Right.
But math is all about patterns.
Right.
This coding is all about finding a pattern, building a pattern, repeating a pattern, and that ties perfectly with math.
Oh, fantastic. Because, again, I think I would have probably liked math if I actually saw what I was doing rather than just write with a paper and pencil.
Well, and I think Mr. Byers, he's working on project-based learning.
Right.
And this is what this is. It's project-based learning. It's just not within the confines of the school day.
Right, right. And it's really interesting, I think, that the students are learning that culture here, because one of the problems that teachers sometimes have in starting a project-based learning environment is that the students just are used to the traditional culture where they have to put their hand up and wait for the teacher to answer the questions.
Right.
And so for me, it's really interesting to see that they're being trained in so many different things right here.
Absolutely. I think it's an awesome opportunity for kids to learn how to solve their own problems, and if they want it bad enough, they somehow seem to make it work for themselves.
That's great, and it's not preachy at all.
No.
So,
No, I have to do that the rest of the day. I didn't want to do it after school as well.
I mean, I'm just blown away. You have a room with 11 and 12-year-olds that are not, they're not underfoot. They're just unbelievable. Now, what would you say to teachers who are thinking about possibly a programming club, or to administrators who are trying to bring this in their building? What would you say?
As she's answering that, if you want to switch it over so that you can see the other computer that I have here, I'll walk around so you can see the kids coding.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Well, I know this probably sounds like a cliche, but I mean this wholeheartedly, that if I can get this together, I think anybody can get this together, and I think the kids, even if they were a little bit unsure of themselves when they first started out, they have had a whole new appreciation for their own abilities. And something like this Tinker program, everything that you need is right there. You don't have to. You don't have, as the person running the program, you don't
Right.
have to do much besides get them logged in and give them a username and password. And I could handle that.
Awesome. And now, if does that hour of power video or program, was that really instrumental in getting the population of kids to come to your class? Would that be helpful?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because again, that was, I think, very. It was enlightening, and it was very much, I think kids had a whole different conception of what that looked like. And one of the things that during the hour of code, they worked on running a code that was already made, where now they've been able to make their own code. So they're in control, as opposed to just trying to get the code to work for them.
Right, and obviously you have a lot of parent support. And what I also really feel excited to see is, like, I mean, most schools have, at very least, these type of computers. You know, like, it's not like the super high-tech stuff that's just come out. You know, how old are your computers, for example?
Mrs. McVeigh could probably answer that question better than I, but they're not brand new.
No. No, and so, would you like to say something? Oh, so does he want to say something? He looks like he wants to say something. Oh, there you go. So introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
Hello.
Hi. Who are you?
My name is Kailyn.
Kailyn, what are you working on?
I'm working on a game.
So what does the game do?
There's something that's following you, and you use the mouse.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah?
And you have to get away from the object. And if the object hits your mouse, then the game's over.
Oh, cool. That's really cool. So now, how did you get into this class? Like, why did you come to programming club?
After the hour to code, I kind of started liking it, and plus I got some of my friends to urge me to do it.
Oh, very cool. So you think you're going to do this next year?
Maybe.
Maybe? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Bye.
No.
All right, very good. So any parting words or any other information that you would like us to know, both Sherry and Mrs. Lucian?
I guess I would just say again that this Tinker program that we are using is a free program for students that are signed up as part of a school group, and there are many lessons that are attached to the free part of it, and then you also have the opportunity to buy a relatively inexpensive license to add to your skills.
Oh, very good. How much is the license, real quick?
I don't have that information at the moment, but it wasn't terrible.
I think less than $25 for all of the computers. I don't think it's that expensive.
Right.
Yeah, Sherry, anything else?
The only thing that I want to add is that, you know, it's just been a really kind of an awakening for DeWitt Public Schools, because we had not really considered that this was a whole.
I agree.
We really just didn't even pay attention to it. So it was really cool to have an organization that's out there that, you know, is realizing, okay, this is something we probably need to push a little bit more.
Right.
And so having the hour of code come in and having Mrs. Lucian to grab onto it and, you know, do what she did in the building to start with it and then, you know, push it forward, it's just been a really, really positive experience for our district.
Yeah,
I encourage other districts to catch on and take a look at it too.
Yeah, and I'm very impressed too, because, and I hope that schools begin to accept this in the academic context as well, because again, here are your standards, you know, like the collaboration and the critical and analytical thinking, and I hope that more of this becomes more and more part of the tradition rather than just a club activity.
The other thing is that I am positive that there are a number of other schools that are doing even way more than this. And so I'll be excited to hear from them. I'm hoping by doing this hangout we have the opportunity to maybe collaborate with some of them and hear more about what other schools do so we don't have to reinvent the wheel ourselves.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for spending your afternoon with me talking about your programming class. We have been talking for 45 minutes. I can't even believe it. It's gone really fast. It's as fast as the club. But thank you again for your help, and I wish you good luck. And please let us know if you start the programming again next year so we can keep track.
We'll do that.
All right.
Thank you.
Terry. All right. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.